Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
The personal airship of Emperor Salazar, the Ravager, hovers in place over Lumatorn, as it has done for many days. Aboard, the small crew busy themselves maintaining its position and serving the Emperor's needs. Only, no one has seen the Emperor in days. Locked away in his cavernous throne room, he has isolated himself from all but one of his minions. At the doors to the throne room, Paragon Ra floats, sentinel, against any who would enter, including his most trusted advisors. From down the corridor, someone approaches.
Let me in.
His Dark Excellency is engaged, Astrid.
It's urgent.
You may pass the message to me. I will make sure the Emperor hears it.
I'm not playing that game again, Ra. I'm a member of the Shadow Vanguard. I'm not beholden to you. I'm loyal only to Salazar.
Your loyalty has been noted.
Don't you dismiss me, you shadow! You husk!
Your words, as always, mean little. You will not enter. You cannot enter. The work they are doing inside is more important than whatever emotional outburst you are experiencing.
Do you think me a fool? I would be very careful, Ra. You think I'm ignorant of the truth about you and your little cult? Too many of the Vanguard have fallen because of you. My sisters were lured away, and now they're dead. Their deaths rest on your conscience.
Their deaths are unimportant.
Unimportant? Without us, the Emperor would never have achieved what he has. It was through our loyalty, our work, and the lives we laid down that the Empire has grown. And what have you offered? Secrets, darkness, rituals. I will not allow you to poison the minds of anyone else. Now get out of my way!
Careful, Astrid. The Emperor and I tolerate you for now, like a master tolerates an unruly pup.
Momentarily, a purple ball of energy appears in Astrid's clenched fist. Ra's form then swells in size as his eyes glow white with heat. And then, from within the throne room, comes a sound. Astrid and Ra continue to stare at one another momentarily before the tension breaks.
What is going on in there?
I am unsure. My access has been restricted. I suspect he is trying to break his will once and for all.
It is unnatural.
It is necessary, and we must all accept the truth that the Emperor has a favorite. Now tell me, what news do you bring? I will make sure he hears it as soon as I speak to him.
Astrid pauses.
And I will make sure to tell him it came from you.
Fine. Communication with Ericsson has broken down. Something is happening down there. Restlessness in the population. We've received word from within that the dead are rising sooner than expected.
And how have you communicated with anyone in the city? I've been monitoring for days, and have heard nothing via any forms of communication, verbal or magical.
For the first time in a long time, Astrid smiles.
I have succeeded, Ra, because I am a Shadow Vanguard. Tell the Emperor I'll be ready to speak to him when he's done with his new toy.
I shall do you the favor of phrasing that differently.
And from within the throne room, one loud explosion of power. Silence reigns momentarily, and then the door opens. Welcome one and all to Dice Company's Small Embers Chapter 67, where a group of friends weave tales of triumph, heroism and despair under the guise of playing Dungeons & Dragons. My name is Tom, and I'll be your DM through the continuing adventures of this mask weaver slaying bastards.
Yes.
Group of mask weaving slayer, mask weaver, oh my god, I knew it was too complicated, I shouldn't have freestyled it. Group of mask weaver slaying bastards, there we are. Please introduce yourselves and tell us one fun fact about your characters.
Hi. I'm... Hi.
Hi.
Popular at school, were you?
It was so disingenuous.
No, not at all.
Hi. I don't believe you.
Hi. I'm Dave, and I play Petren Oakflower. Now, some listeners may recall that Petren found the bones of 2 furbolgs in the crypts below Frost Hollow not long ago, and they're now in the bag of holding, awaiting an opportunity to give these unknown furbolgs a proper ceremony in a location that feels right. And in a strange way, having these bones has given Petren a renewed sense of hope. At the Storm's Fall event, he was away from his settlement in the forest foraging, and when it hit, he lost consciousness, and when he came to, he was alone with no idea how long had passed. When he made it back to the settlement, he found it a partial ruin with no signs of life, but no bodies either. And part of him has always imagined that his whole clan was vaporized during the event. So finding bones has made him wonder if one day he might even find survivors.
Oh, nice.
Lovely.
We could be the friends to help him do that.
Do we have the time, though?
Are you friends?
Who is this person? Who are you?
Sorry, I thought I'd bring some sort of team to this quest, but no, I take it back.
Do we have the time and are we friends?
I was trying to make us about 15% more gummy bears.
Harry with a dose of realism to just knock that one back.
My favourite is that he ended with, who are you?
Hi, I'm Charlie and I play Vander Finnick. Vander has been thinking about the Hushed One. If this new shadowed figure is behind even the Emperor, then there is a power in the world even greater than anything Vander has considered before. How would one face such a force? Maybe one simply can't. Or maybe it's time to learn how to kill a god.
Fucking
Yes.
amazing.
Like it.
Challenge accepted.
Hi, I'm Alex and I'm playing Seeksorrow. And this week we're going to talk about Seeksorrow's mum. We've talked about his grim father, but Seeksorrow's mum was a joyful woman, always singing quietly to herself and apparently able to find spring flowers all year round to put in jars around the house. The question that's always troubled Seeksorrow is why would such a woman marry his father?
Ooh, intrigue.
Why indeed? Stay tuned to Dice Company to find out. Or possibly I'll forget this and never mention it again.
Not as hooky as the first one.
Find out in chapter 1226 of Small Embers.
I can never tell where we're trying to build or lose a fan base.
Oh, I forgot to do mine, didn't I? Hi, I'm Harry, and I play Tock, an imposing 6'8" automaton. And Tock has been developing a theory based on the teachings of the gnomish philosopher-artificer Jingo about extraplanar rifts and protrusions. They are known to be inherently unstable, and attempted interplanar portals collapse near instantaneously, with the most powerful wielders of magic able to hold a gate open for no longer than about a minute. So the relevant factor in the limited duration is the use of negative energy sources to hold the mouth of the portal open. Like extraplanar bubbles or pockets, like the bag of holding, are inherently more stable, as this energy experiences a minimal gradient and thus can be effectively contained. Whilst a portal connecting 2 or more planes, this energy quickly escapes into the adjacent plane with a higher positive energy state. An analogy comprehensible to humans would be that of a bucket holding water versus flow through an angled pipe. So for the planar rift in the Library of the Citadel to remain open for years, it would be necessary that an immense source of negative energy is constantly being fed in and then leaking across all of the connected planes. The most likely candidate for such a source, coincidence with the rift's creation, would have to be the newly discovered deity, the Hushed One.
That was one for the TTRPG physicists, wasn't it?
Yep.
My God.
There are some out there.
I thought it was going to be a funny one, and then by the end I was like, well, holy shit. This guy is smart.
Which one? Some have already
when you said a huge source of negative energy, I thought you were going to point it at Vander.
Or just
I missed one there, didn't I?
the concept of your guys' friendship.
a vacuum so powerful in its complete nothingness that, yeah, okay.
And please remember, they made me see that the world was beautiful if you were beautiful, and that you couldn't get unless you gave, and you had to give without wanting to get. So let's turn the page on the next chapter of Small Embers. Previously on Small Embers, stuff happened. Oh boy, did it happen. You were in the western tower of Castle Ericsson with a dead Maskweaver bubbling away like a puddle of slop. A dead vampire spawn, formerly known as Archsepulchre Marsh, also dead, and Llewellyn stood silently looking at the two corpses. Tell me everything, and tell it quickly.
I believe that is my cue.
As Vander steps forward.
Llewellyn, firstly, my apologies for the flintlock moment earlier. I confess I have a weakness for the theatrical. I trust we are now in a new state of fast friendship.
Much has changed. We are fine.
Excellent. Then I will tell you what is, I'm sure, grim tidings. We came here with little knowledge of this land, but through our friend here, Petren, we discovered a corruption in the forest known as Auromycus. We believe this is connected to Wolf's power. Ericsson, as you know now, is a vampire and has been converting, to put it mildly, members of your little community here into undead. I believe his plan was to buy his legitimacy by replacing Augustus, who I am deeply saddened to confirm is indeed deceased. Now we have killed his replacement,
And Vander gestures to the body.
we find ourselves in a little predicament. To kill Wolf, we must first eradicate his dark ally, that corruption I mentioned. And to do that, I believe we must venture down to the crypts, specifically Wolf's dead brother. There, I am reliably informed, is an Alokian rune. We must destroy this artifact in order to release an ally of ours who will do our bidding and destroy the Auromycus. Here is where the plan gets a little bit more complicated. In doing so, I believe we will alert Wolf to our presence, and at the same time allow the Emperor to enter this place. That almost certainly ends in a fight. Which brings me to my question for you, Llewellyn. Are you with us? And if so, what help can you provide us in ridding this land of this evil?
It is strange to me that you could have one day's change over 30 years, and now it feels like there is 30 years of change happening in one day. I will be able to mobilize the Blue Cloaks. We must be able to protect the city from this vampire and Auromycus incursion. When Ericsson finds out what is happening, he is likely to make his way back to the castle. I can go out and get the men and bring them back now.
A sound plan, Llewellyn. If I may, is there a place we might convene? Somewhere close enough to the crypt that we might join you? And equally a place that may offer us some little competitive advantage in the fight to come?
They have worked in this castle for 30 years. I know its inner workings, and while Ericsson lives here, he has never actually done any of the work himself. If we were to man the battlements, if there was to be a showdown, doing it in the courtyard would make most sense.
I agree. Then we may convene in the courtyard shortly, as we will make our way now to the crypt.
Sergei Ericsson is in the crypt, third door from the left as you look at the courtyard.
My thanks, Llewellyn. And while we're on the subject of blue cloaks, do not be too harsh on any of your men who turn up derobed. A little misunderstanding.
And Vander passes him a blue cloak.
Llewellyn gives you a slightly quizzical look, but there's too much going on for him to really dwell on it for too long. He just takes the cloak.
Circumstance makes fools of us all.
He then turns around to the two bodies on the floor, and he spits on the mask weaver's remains. I will see you shortly in the courtyard.
Godspeed, Llewellyn.
And he leaves.
Well then, boys. I suggest we make our way to the crypt. What say you?
I would find that to be acceptable.
Right you are. Yeah, to the crypt.
Yeah, sounds like we need to go.
Well then, I suggest the strongest go first.
I lived many years in a, well, what some people would call a hole in the ground. I thought it was a rather charming little den myself, but nonetheless, these underground locations hold no fears for me, so I'm happy to take the lead.
Vander, I would suggest scouting the location first, or escape routes.
You refer to the crypt, Tock, or our place of ambush?
Both would seem appropriate.
Vander's going to, at Tock's words, Vander's going to mentally summon Bellerophon. Of course, he won't know if he's picked that signal up, but hopefully he's in a close enough proximity that he hears or heeds the call to his dark master.
I mean,
says,
Terrifying.
yeah. Heroes.
Following Llewellyn's instructions, you guys head to the third door on the left, which takes you down a circular stone staircase. It is dark as you head down, and there is water dripping everywhere and a sense of kind of cold moisture in the air.
I'm going to light my tinderbox and hold it out in front of me as I pad down the stairs.
And I get a marching order. It's only one person wide, the corridor.
Tock will take the lead if no one else wants to.
Yeah, I'll go up front with Tock, just behind.
And Tick will also, holding Tock's sword, be lighting the way.
Vander's going to shuffle in at the back.
I guess Seeksorrow will flank Vander, thinking that Vander is a fragile thing in this dangerous place.
Stepping on Vander, noted.
So you head down the circular staircase, which leads you to a narrow corridor, which you march along in the order that you have given. There is a sharp left turn ahead, and at the end of a short corridor, around 30 feet ahead of you, is a shut door.
Tock will try opening it.
Ahead of you is the crypt. It is dimly lit with an air of ancient stillness that hangs thick in the cold, damp space. The walls, made of rough-hewn stone, are slick with moisture, and the faint echo of water drips from the ceiling, creating an eerie rhythm. A faint, musty smell lingers in the air, a mixture of mildew and aged stone. In the centre of the room, 3 imposing sarcophagi rest, their surfaces carved with intricate faded symbols. They are arranged in a line, their lids heavy and carved with stone reliefs. On the left is the worshipper of a god. In the centre, that of a warrior with a knife in its back. A maiden sat beside a lake. Beneath the reliefs are stone square emblems. Each stands out from the rest of the sarcophagus and has initials carved into it. The priest's reads SH, the warrior SE, and the maiden, I see. In a circle around each are glyphs, which you recognise as Alokian. While they look beautiful in their construction, the stone of the sarcophagus behind is cracked and worn with age. A single torch flickers in the corner, casting long shadows that stretch across the walls.
So Tock is going to be very cautious moving into the room. He's going to check that if there are any enemies or monsters in the room as a defense. And secondly, he's going to try and do his best to investigate for traps.
Cool. Give me an investigation check. Or a perception check. Your choice.
Okay, investigation. Quite a lucky roll. That'll be a 27 for investigation.
Oh.
Who needs Benny?
Oh my God. Slander.
If we find a trap, then we'll need Benny.
Your investigation leads you to believe that there are no traps and no enemies that you can see within the space ahead of you.
Okay, in which case Tock will make his way first into the room, presumably followed by the rest of the party, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm right behind you.
Okay, well, Tick will follow him in anyway, at least. So I'm thinking that the initials on the tombs are obviously Sergei, Ericsson, and Irina.
Irina is Calhoun's surname, isn't it? She's not dead.
It's always a bit worrying when people make coffins for you before you're dead.
And Irina, so do we know who the priest is? SH?
Not obvious. Are there any other exits from the room, or is this sort of an enclosed space?
It is an enclosed space. Now fully in the crypt, each of you become acutely aware of a sound. A strange ethereal song coming from all directions. The flame of the torch in the corner dances erratically. The faint light gives life to the stone carvings, making them seem to almost move in the flicker of the flame. Over the song, you hear the sound of grinding stone as the lids of the sarcophagi slide open, and behind you, the door slams shut.
Oh, shit!
The song intensifies, and suddenly, your vision flickers. Like a veil being lifted, you see the truth. Thick blackened ooze covers the entire tomb. In place all over the walls and most of the floor, it must have been there for years. It has tendrils coiling out of a disgusting mass, twisting and lashing in the air. In each corner of the room are long, thin tendrils with a skull at its top. Instantly, you know they are the source of the song. As you look down on yourselves, Vander, Tock, and Seeksorrow, you notice that there are small patches of the black ooze on you, very slowly bubbling away. Can I have dexterity saving throws from you three, please?
That's a 5 for Seeksorrow on the dex save.
15 for Vander.
Tock is going to use his incredible genius to add 5 to his dexterity saving throw, because he really doesn't want this stuff on him. 20. That wasn't even adding the 5. 25.
The small tendrils around your feet seem to want to connect with that on your body, but you're able to kind of brush it all off of yourselves, and the tendrils go back into the black mass by your feet. 3 large tendrils slither into the now open sarcophagi. Seconds later, the remains from within are withdrawn, decomposing skeletal forms propped up by the tendrils in a macabre puppet show. Even in the dim light, you can see some of the Auromycus expanding into what remains of the heads. They rattle side to side, like a fake dance, as all 3 mouths open at the same time and speak.
The destroyer must be contained. We must be allowed to live and thrive. The decayed one has promised us consumption and freedom. Without growth, we will die.
Is it obvious what the thing that the Alexa, the thing she told us we had to smash, is it obvious where it is?
The Alokian runes, they're on each of the 3 sarcophagi.
Okay, so I think Seeksorrow is just going to stride towards the nearest one and try and smash one with the axe. We've been told to just break these things, right? Well, Gimli style, knowing that this will probably result in the axe exploding and him being thrown on the floor, Seeksorrow is going to try and smash the nearest one of those.
Tock will do the same thing on the tomb at the front, the warrior tomb. He's got his Franz Hammer sledgehammer ready.
Amazing. Cool. Can I have dexterity saving throws from you two, please? And followed by athletics checks.
More dexterity saving throws.
That's 8 for dexterity.
And a 5 for Tock.
As you step towards them, tendrils spin up from the ground and capture you. You are unable to move.
Question suggests something. So I don't know if this would get me out, but I've got a thing called Remarkable Athlete, which means one of the things is if I make a running long jump, the distance I can cover increases by a number of feet equal to my strength modifier. I'm just wondering if, despite being wrapped up, I can do a kind of jumping attack from here.
I think running jump requires you to have some movement before you do it, and your movement is currently 0.
Fair enough.
Unfortunately.
What I'd like to do is, or I'd like to try at least, is the Petren draws his quarterstaff and scratches a symbol on the ground. So what I'd like to do is I would like to try to use Speak with Plants. Because I've got the ability to kind of communicate, I want to see if... I appreciate these aren't like regular plants, so I can't just kind of maybe have a normal, but I'd like to see if I can sort of persuade them.
Well, they're fungus, I suppose, aren't they?
Okay, yep, so you scratch the thing, and what would you like to say?
So Petren looks around the room, sort of trying to work out who he should be addressing a speech that he's got in his mind to, and lacking anything better, he sort of speaks to the puppet figures at the front. And he says, "Look around you. I know this isn't... I know you're not quite plants as I know them, but you know this isn't right. This isn't about growth or nature or even the cycles. This is all destruction and chaos. You're part of the natural world, even if you're not quite how many people see it, and you know this isn't right. Stop this. Stop this now."
Give me a persuasion check.
Doing a charisma.
Do me a charisma.
Tock would try and guide you, but you're talking in fungus.
That is 10.
So many words. You have created a society, laws, rules, fictions, to ensure your continued consumption and survival. Should we not be allowed to do the same?
I've done none of those things. I've grown up in a community where everyone takes only what they need and returns as much as they take. And thus, we furbolgs live in harmony and in communion with nature, never upsetting the delicate balances that we know are so vital for everything to thrive. What you've done here is the same as what some of the humans have done. You've taken and taken and taken, and soon there'll be nothing left to take, and then it's death to everything.
We have only continued to take because we have been restricted. We cannot leave. We take what we must, but spread over larger areas. We would take less. We do not wish to be imprisoned. We must be allowed to survive. The Decayed One is the only one who has made that promise. If you could make that promise, then we could help you.
Don't know who this Decayed One is exactly, but in my mind, he's making promises he's no intention of keeping. I'm not going to make that promise to you, because I can't keep it. And if that means we must be enemies, then I'm sad about that, but it might be the way it has to be.
We do not see you as an enemy. We see you as an organism, like us. But you are inefficient. You waste time which could be spent on creation and guaranteed survival. It is not much we ask, just to be free, to exist. It is fair, is it not, within your confines of your fictions?
Well, fair it may be, but I'm afraid it's not within my power to grant it.
Then we must stop you from releasing the Destroyer.
And they shiver for a moment.
Seeing the others move forward, Vander's eye takes in the scene and rests on Petren.
Ah, I see the stress has caused Petren to abandon reason. Well, time to even the odds, I think.
Vander casts mage armor, and his skin seems to change. looking now more like scales.
Roll initiative, please.
18 for Seeksorrow.
19 for Tock.
8 for Vander.
On combat being initiated, more tendrils spring up from the black mass at your feet.
Lovely.
So just for clarity, our mission here is to smash the runes, or we just fight the people?
I think we're going to need to fight the people first.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I don't know how easy it is to smash the runes, but we've also got to escape.
Right, we are at the top of the round with Tock and Tick.
Okay, so what are these weird tentacle things that have appeared next to us?
These are long tendrils that have come from the black mass at your feet that are writhing around and in a threatening manner.
Tock and Tick are going to assume that hitting these things with a sword will cut them loose and will at least mean they won't attack us. So he'll do that. The Dark Blade swishes out and attacks the one just south of Tock. 16 to hit, and that's... Ooh, terrible roll. 10 damage.
Tock, please tell us a story.
They're easy to kill. Awesome. Well, in which case, he just cuts through the base of it like it's like he's wielding a scythe, and almost looks surprised that it is severed so easily. In fact, after that, he's going to watch just quickly to see are there more forming?
As you cut down one tendril, two more appear in its place.
I see. Is it worth attacking these things here? Damn. You've just stumped me.
D&D!
Yeah. Yet.
Make a note, everyone. 67 chapters and I finally stumped him.
God, I can't move either. That's really annoying. Okay, in which case we need to do some damage against the real enemies here. Tock is going to try and use his strength to just tear free of the sort of tendrils holding his feet to the ground, and he's going to try and make his way to the warrior enemy over here by the what's it? SE. So presumably Sergei, and Tick is going to do likewise.
Give me strength saving throws for both.
Okay, right. So Tick's armor is going to glow like with a crackling blue light, adding 5. So that'll be a 21.
Successfully rip the black tendrils off of the body.
Tick gets a natural 20 for a 22.
Tick basically just walks out of it.
Just vaguely unaware of what's going on. Okay.
It just gets torn out from the root.
So Tock is going to move into contact and Tick will move as well, ignoring any opportunity attacks these tendrils are going to do.
Can I have a dexterity saving throw, please, Tock?
For moving in the thing, I assumed that would be enough. Right, fine. It's a 17.
Tendrils try and wrap themselves around your ankles, but you're powerful enough just to walk straight through them again, ripping them out at the root, and you make your way up to the warrior remains.
Awesome. Just for clarification, what is happening with these tendrils? As in, how often are we doing dex saves and things to get?
Every 5 feet you move.
Oh God, really?
Yeah.
Jesus, that's annoying. Okay, fine. I'm going to stab a motherfucker in the face.
Oh, I've got him angry.
Can't move.
I mean, you've literally moved.
Right. That's advantage, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Going to do a lot of stabbing.
Seeksorrow raises an eyebrow at hearing Tock say something about stabbing motherfuckers in the face.
Right, an 18 to hit. Okay, for 14 magical damage.
So you stab him in the face, but the Auromycus reforms, bringing all of the shards of the skull back into place.
Tick is also going to attack, but has a extra bonus sword, so I don't know how exactly to add that in. I'm just going to roll the attack and then add a bonus for the thing he's got. He gets a 25 to hit. That is 10 magical damage.
Very nice. So with the two automatons flanking the warrior remains and stabbing into it, the rest of you see as it sort of reforms after every attack, but it seems somewhat diminished after every attack as well.
Tock, despite having no facial expressions, somehow looks angry. Now it's the end of his turn.
So you have like drawn on eyebrows that go into it.
As
like
a bonus
V-shape.
action, Tock draws an angry face on his own face. On his face cliff.
Petren.
So I think Petren's seen Tock and Tick's tactic of going for the creature by Sergei's tomb, and it's going to help by casting Create Bonfire beneath the warrior remains. It feels like these things might be fairly susceptible to fire. You create a bonfire on the ground that you can see within range. Until the spell ends, the bonfire fills a 5-foot cube. Any creature in the bonfire space when you cast the spell must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take, it's going to be 2d8 fire damage. 16.
That is a 16. So it's passed. So is that half damage? Did it say?
No, I don't think it takes any damage.
So as the bonfire appears and begins licking up into roasting the remains of the warrior, it doesn't seem to have any effect.
No, but it will have to do it again when it starts its turn. At least there's that. So Petren is wary of all these grasping tentacles, and so is going to cast Hidden Step as a bonus action, which makes me invisible until my next turn.
You are able to step back without any issues.
Right, Benny's back in the room, isn't it?
Seeksorrow.
I don't think I've got any choice but to disengage / try a strength check to get out of my bind.
Give me a strength saving throw.
80.
Way.
Success. You're able to rip the tendrils. You burst out like Hulk Hogan.
This thing here is a pillar.
Yes.
Seeksorrow is going to leap towards that, kind of jump up and kick off it with his foot, and launch himself with a two-handed axe attack at this fine-looking mushroom-inhabited corpse monster.
And now it's just like Augustus is back in the room.
I move 5 feet, but like a badass.
Like a boss.
Cool.
Okay, so he will attack with his massive axe, please.
Okay.
Oh, that's only a 12.
Is a hit.
Yeah.
Nice.
7 slashing. What does that mean I rolled? Did it tell me?
You rolled a 2. 1d12 plus 4 strength plus 4 magic. Yeah, so you rolled a 2.
Well, great weapon fighting tells me when you roll a 1 or a 2 on a damage die with a two-handed weapon, I can re-roll it.
Oh, hello. Someone who knows his character.
Knowledge of the rules.
Oh, I'm so proud. Roll that damage again.
Hello. I have to stick with the second roll, which is 13.
Very nice.
So proud of him.
It's just beautiful, isn't it?
I also get a second attack, and on this one, I'm going to use my Great Weapon Master thing that allows me, before a melee attack with a heavy weapon I'm proficient with, I can choose -5 to get +10 damage.
Love it. Love it.
And so, with the big axe, he rolls a 20, so 15 to hit.
Nice.
Is a hit. Roll that massive damage.
15 slashing +10, 25 slashing damage, please.
Very nice.
Seeksorrow gets a jab in with the axe, causes a bit of damage, and then looks angry, redoubles his efforts, and takes a massive backhand swing upwards into the face of the monster, knocking it sideways, but not quite killing it.
I love it. Now it is the Auromycus' turn. So as you look around, you see all of the tendrils that you've left behind disappear back into the black mass and then reappear next to you. Seeksorrow, Tock, and Vander, because they can't see Petren. The remains of the priest stay in their spot, though, and do not move. Okay, so let's have some tendril attacks, shall we? We start with 2 attacks on Seeksorrow. A 10, which is a miss, so the first one kind of slashes at you but misses. 19 for the second.
AC 16.
Please take 6 bludgeoning damage as the tendril slaps you across the face.
And now the squid's back in the room.
Seeksorrow has a weird flashback that he doesn't understand.
2 attacks on Vander. The first is 14.
With my additional armor, I am a 14.
Okay, so meets it, beats it, so that is a hit.
Oh, okay, I'm going to use shield. As the tentacle lashes towards Vander, it meets an invisible force and is repelled as a blue shock of lightning crosses Vander.
Very nice. You see the tendril almost looks a bit like a snake as it kind of prods at the shield and then moves side to side in a quizzical fashion. Second attack on Vander. 18, which is a miss thanks to the shield, which remains up. So the other one, so you now have two tendrils basically just taking little pot shots at your shield, but are unable to get through.
Staff is earning its keep there.
And now we have two attacks on Tock. The first normal, the second at advantage. First is a 2, which is a miss, and the one at advantage, a 12.
Which is a miss as well.
They're desperately trying to slap Tock round the back of the head, but they're missing horribly as he is in...
Well, it's encased in metal, so, it's...
Has no effect. So the remains will now attack. Tock and Seeksorrow, can I have wisdom saving throws from both of you, please? DC 15, in case you're wondering.
Tock is again going to use his super genius to try and just, not listen to whatever this is speaking into his mind.
That's an 8 for Seeksorrow.
And an 18 for Tock.
Seeksorrow, please take 10 psychic damage, and Tock, please take 7 psychic damage. As the remains kind of like puppets floating in the air, they move towards you. You see a mouth sort of appear that attempts to wrap itself around you, and the song intensifies to an almost deafening level inside your mind. Tock, you're able to fight most of it off. Seeksorrow, you feel the full wrath of it. Vander.
So Vander took care to stay very still, thinking that this could only attack him if he moved, but now, having been lashed at by the tentacles, he abandons his original plan, and his gnarled hand reaches into his robes, returning with the whip of old. Casting it above his head, he lashes out at the one remaining spectre that's not being engaged to the north of the room. And in doing that, in spell terms, I'm casting Witch Bolt.
Oh.
Connecting me to the creature, and that would be... So that's 16.
Is a hit. Please roll for damage.
Oh, gets there. Okay, so that's 1d12. Let's do this thing. It's a 4. That is lightning damage, and the nature of the spell is I'm now connected, so I can re-roll every turn. And my staff is going to very much earn its keep while I'm doing that.
As the lightning courses through the whip, attacking the remains of the priest, you notice that the black kind of ichor tentacle nastiness is fizzing more than it normally would, as the damage is doubled because of lightning.
Okay. Vander's eye glows even more intensely at seeing that.
Of course it does.
They don't like lightning, boys.
Who does, Vander?
Phenomenal. End of your turn, Vander.
I really want to respond, but sadly, yes.
Can each of you please roll me a d20 at the end of the round?
2 for Vander.
An 11.
4 for Petren.
4 for Seeksorrow. We rolled 4 d20s and scored 21 in total.
Thank you.
No dragons.
Back to the top of the round with Tock and Tick.
Right. Okay, they're going to continue to try and reduce this thing in front of them to back to bones. Tock attacks with the Dark Blade. Gets a 17 for 12 damage. And he attacks again. 18
Very nice.
for 17 damage.
Oh, very nice.
And Tick is going to take advantage of this to stab him in the back. Gets a 21.
Yeah.
But 10 magical damage.
In the chaos of the fight, the rest of you turn to see Tock and Tick just relentlessly stabbing the remains of the warrior, which just floats almost inertly. Mr. Petren Oakflower.
So I think Petren is going to attempt to help out Vander with the priest to the north. I think he's going to take a small step forward, still invisible, and then reveal himself by casting Produce Flame as an attack. Okay. So almost kind of throwing a flame at the priest, as still thinks that fire might be the way to go. So 22?
Very much a hit.
That gives me 2d8.
Oh, nice.
So it's 8 total.
Ducking under the bolt of lightning that currently connects Vander to the remains, you unleash the fire, which ripples up over the body. And you also notice, similar to the lightning, that the fire does more damage than you would have expected it to.
I think I'll call that out as well. Say fireworks as well.
I love the kind of efficiency of you guys like calling things out in combat. It's lovely. It's really nice.
Almost.
Makes me think you're an actual team.
Actually, Vander was wondering, because Petren was semi-invisible, if from the perspective of the priest it looked like maybe the whip was delivering the fire as well. You know, just wondering if Vander looks double terrifying, but probably not.
No, if anything, you've now been blocked by the hulking form of Petren. If anything, it looks like you've transported yourself 10 feet and doubled in size.
I can live with that.
The magnificent Seeksorrow.
Seeksorrow is thinking, are the runes on this coffin also like visible and in reach?
Yep.
In that case, Seeksorrow is going to... Well, I'll use the axe, I think, to try and smash them.
Okay. So just roll me an attack with the axe.
That is a 21.
Oh, yes. Roll damage.
That is 9 damage.
So you swing your axe at the emblem, and as it clinks into it, you see a very small crack begin to form. Not a full crack over the whole thing, but you've definitely done damage that takes you almost halfway, you would suspect. Another good palpable hit, and you'd probably be able to break it.
Okay, I'm going to attempt another good palpable hit.
Forgot you had 2 attacks. I meant 3 more hits.
But I'm going to go for the Great Weapon Master thing here to max the damage if I can. So that's a natural 20, a 28. And when I get a natural 20...
Oh my god.
If I score a crit or reduce an enemy to 0 hit points, I can make a melee attack as a bonus action. I may not need to.
Well, you can always do a melee attack against another enemy, can't you?
So I roll the damage.
Yeah, please.
It's a 21, 41 by my...
My God.
41 damage by my count.
Very good. Good maths. Quick maths. 40, yeah, so you swing the axe and the emblem shatters into loads of pieces. There is a moment of silence as the remains of the maiden collapse into dust, and it actually burns a circular radius of damage as everything, the black ichor from that area, is completely destroyed.
Okay, so Seeksorrow bellows, smash the emblems! And so I've got a bonus action melee attack, but I think attacking the tentacles makes it worse. Like, if you kill the tentacles, more tentacles arrive. So I don't really need to use that bonus action, do I? There's no real point for me doing that. Can I move instead? Or can I move and do that bonus action? I've not moved yet.
You certainly can.
You do a big leap.
You certainly could.
Well, it's a good point, actually. I've got a clear area around me, so I can take a run up, in which case I'd like to run and jump to help Tick and Tock over here.
Oh, that's so cool! That's so cool!
As I land, double-handed with the axe, as usual, I will attempt to smash the runes at the feet of this guy. I will once again use the Great Weapon Master thing, reducing the attack. So it's a 20, so 15, and that is 13 damage to the runes.
Once again, with a clink, you hit, and a slightly larger crack than the first attack you did on the last emblem appears.
That concludes Seeksorrow's business for the present time.
Second, it is the turn of the Auromycus. Okay, the other tendrils from around the room, noticing that the main fight is happening far away, disappear back into the black mass.
Goodness.
Can I have Constitution saving throws from Tock, Tick, and Seeksorrow as the remains of the warrior begin to shake and shiver, and they begin to expand out, and you see the floor around you, which has the black mass, is beginning to undulate. Constitution saving throws. DC 16.
Tock rolls a 22, but Tick only gets a 6. Natural 1.
14.
Fail.
Oh, you bastard.
Tick and Seeksorrow, please take 20 damage.
Ouch.
Tock, you take 10. Seeksorrow, you are blown back 10 feet, and Tick is blown back 10 feet also. the remains of the warrior are, with only Tock left standing, stood in front of it. It's going to launch an attack on him, but misses because Tock is invulnerable.
He also needs to do his saving throw because he's standing on a bonfire.
Thank you very much. Oh, I'm not sure I like you guys knowing the rules.
It's a dex save.
Rules.
It's a fail. Please roll the damage.
So that's 11.
The remains are looking raggedy, and while previously it was able to bring other elements of the skeletal form back into place, they're now quite loose and hanging, giving the impression of an old and battered puppet. The song, however, intensifies.
Vander flips his hand, withdrawing the whip, realizing now that there's another way to attack here, and changes tact to launch magic missiles. 3 magical darts appear around Vander, and he waves his hand. Now, I'm guessing I probably don't have line of sight to the one in the center, right?
Doesn't matter.
Perfect.
It's an auto hit. Yeah.
Vander's head snaps in the direction of the fight that Tock is having, and all 3 darts fly across the room in a curved trajectory around Tock and embed themselves in the magical Alokian rune.
Ooh.
Nice.
I'm picturing it like that. What's that really shit film? Where,
Good
Oh,
start.
they can spin bullets.
Flicks the guns, like goes around corners.
Right. No, I'm back in. Gunslinger.
Where they no, that's Wanted. Yeah.
James McAvoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Equilibrium, I think, which is the gun cutter.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off track. Right, roll the damage for the magic missile hitting the Alokian ward.
3 d4s plus 1 for each. So first one is a 4, so a 5. Second one is a 3, so a 4, so 9. And third one is another 4, so a 5. Nice. 14 damage. Come on.
The 3 magical darts fly around Tock and smash into the Alokian ward, which shatters.
Nice. Top killer.
Tock.
Really hoping you were saying top and not Tock killer then. That was...
Unlike the first seal, this one cracks, and Tock, you see a small wisp of smoke rising up from the break, which then disappears into the air. The remains in front of you speak.
The destroyer is free. We must act now.
The tendrils all fall to the ground and are absorbed into the black mass, which retreats as the song falls silent once again. The room is now empty of the Auromycus. The combat is over. Vander, Tock, and Petren, you all hear in your heads a message from Alexa Storm.
Thank you very much. Now, to work.
Tock is going to perform an action at this point. He is going to take a sending stone from his bag of holding, and he's going to send the message, now.
Seraphina immediately responds to your message.
Tock, the city is covered in Auromycus. I'm doing everything I can to help the people, but Ericsson knows what you've done. He approaches.
Tock will speak to the other members of the party and say, Ericsson approaches.
That is awesome.
Do we kind of know, because with one of these runes we still haven't broken, do we still need to do that, or is that just irrelevant now?
Don't know. Can't hurt.
Seeksorrow goes over to the final of the 3 runes and smashes it with his axe.
Tock and Tech are going to help him in case that makes it go quicker.
And in less than 6 seconds,
Yeah.
you have destroyed the remaining seal.
Maybe that was a bad thing.
Well-
We don't know.
I think Petren is going to be by the door. Then, come on, we need to get up. We need to get up to the courtyard quickly.
Okay, let us proceed. Tock's going to use a hit dice on the way up, though.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that too.
I'll do the same.
Tock got a 13.
I rolled an 8 on my D8.
And I rolled 4 hit dice for 34.
Tock also on the way up is going to repair Tick somewhat.
I think as we travel up the stairs, Petren says, as we face Ericsson, let's remember the sight that greeted us in that temple. And if our courage should fail us, let's think on that for a moment. And then he redoubles his speed.
As Seeksorrow bustles along next to Vander, he goes, what happened in the temple?
A wrong that must now be righted. Upstairs, Seeksorrow. Dead people have overstayed their welcome.
Good enough, Seeksorrow. Also redoubles his speed.
Fuck yeah! Sorry, must remain impartial.
Seriously weird mishmash of people coming up these stairs.
As you move through Castle Ericsson, there is no sign of the song. The Auromycus ichor covers all the walls of the ancient building, but appears unmoving. You reach the courtyard. A cacophony of screams can be heard coming from the city. Everyone roll me a d20.
15 for Vander.
19 for Petren.
5 for Seeksorrow.
12 for Tock.
From the dark, rain-soaked sky above, along the battlements, Vander, you see a number of blue cloaks stood, rain pouring off the edges of their hoods, their bows ready and aimed into the courtyard. The great double doors open, and in walks Ulf Ericsson.
What have you done?
Vander steps out into the courtyard, looking up at the overcast sky and the drizzle, returns his gaze to Ericsson.
Good afternoon, Wolf. Welcome to your last moments of life.
I have disposed of people like you before. This is nothing to me, and you will pay for what you have done.
Now, plenty of people have disposed of me, Wolf. Few have lived to do it twice.
Then it will please me to be the first.
And he draws a curved sword that shimmers in the gloom. And we will end it there.
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Dave Windust as Petren Oakflower, Alex Morrison as Seeksorrow, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, and Harry King as Tock, with Tom Patrick as your Dungeon Master.
The humans of Dice Company would like to thank the following sweethearts for their support: Zeus Legion, Zero Nova, Sepulchre Stennet, Marky B, Jenny the War Camel, Stephen Sikora, Nori Gosler, Mickey Arnold, Happy Daddy Scotty, Tika, SJ Phionics, Richard Ungamus, Rabbi Camel, Team Stay Toxic, Path Pursuit, Paris Hakar, Liz Beckett, Julia Zeno, Shovels, Queenie, and a special extra thanks to our very own Council of Rojan, Mama Strange, Axel Runholm, and Chris from North London. I recommend tapestries.
Good idea.
Sorry, it's because I'm not coming to you from the Palace of Versailles. I haven't got any tapestries.
Tapestries can be for the common man too.
Why the Palace of Versailles is such a niche reference as well. I love it. I love it.
I think we should have tapestriesforthecommonman.com. Our new spin-out business.
Also, Palace of Versailles, loads of tapestries, no toilets.
What?
It's very difficult to respond to that.
Yep, they just had servants with a bucket
Of course.
and a mop.
And of course you know that.
I thought that was a really fake common man.
All of that is very... I'm bottom of the common man rankings. Common is what that
They had
was.
buckets. Why did they need a mop?
Because they didn't go in the buckets. They had to wipe them up from the floor. It was a sign of opulence.
It still is in many ways.
The big two.
Yeah.
Absolute friggin' boat ride, this whole conversation.
On that shit note, Charlie.
I was thinking dysentery is a running theme. Way! Okay. Yeah, sorry, everyone. Hi. If this new shadowed finger? If this new shadow...
And all mystique is ruined.
Yeah.
Now, Vander would like to cast Grease, but I think I can catch both Seeksorrow and Tock, and my hope is that will make them slippery so that they can get out of the vines.
Have you read the spell description?
I'll go. Grease is cast on a surface.
I was thinking, cool, he's going to cast Grease because I was about to get Juice Flame out.
I don't have flame. I have Grease.
I mean, I know so little about D&D spells, but I know from Squidgate that it's cast on a surface because it was going to turn it into a slip and slide for Augustus to be dragged along.
I don't know. DM, what's the ruling?
That Alex is correct.
God damn it.
Lawyered.
Dave, are you there?
Yep,
Are you eating?
nearly finished.
What are you eating?
It's like
Dysentery, yeah.
some sort of barbecue-y tofu with some coleslaw and some rice, some salad. Nice.
Are you a full veggie now?
No,
Why would you choose to eat tofu then?
tofu. Tofu's good.
Tofu is surely nothing.
Yeah, I was going to say it's...
Well, it's like it's a vessel for other things.
So let's turn the page on the next chapter of Small Embers.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I like that one.
Very nice.
Bloody hell, it's the first time you've complimented anything that I've ever said.
I was thinking,
Where did you
as I
see that
said,
from?
If it helps, I was going to be like, was that Ronan Keating? Was it?
Where did you see
Philosopher
it from?
Ronan.
Life is a roller coaster. Just got to ride it.
Right, that's it. From now on, it's exclusively Boyzone and Westlife lyrics. Or just generally boy bands from the late 90s.
I do think you should try and sneak in 90s song lyrics. If you say them in a sort of book at bedtime tone, they might sound kind of really deep and meaningful. And you see if you can get them past us.
What was that game? You try to get the lines from The Rock through without anybody noticing?
Womack! Piece of shit, I should have known. By the way, that quote is from The Once and Future King by T.H. White.
Womack, you piece of shit. I do not remember that line.
Read some poetry out.
Jesus Christ.
I'm all over the Once and Future King. I love it.
Lore.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our link tree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.